live right now. We were just talking backstage about what we are going to be talking about. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. Yay, hello. So I'm I love how Alec has like slides into chat. Yes, us too. We slid into the live broadcast. We're like gabbing away back there. Okay. Hello, Eva. We're so happy to see you. All right, Joan Ninja Hen is here. Joan will be, she's going to be co-hosting an upcoming live stream with us, so I'm super psyched about that. I love it.
That's so cool.
It is. It's going to be great. So, all right. So 2 things we were talking about. Well, first we should introduce everybody, right? I should do that for anybody who's new. I know Alec, Eva, and Joan, and the 3 of us, but we have some other people joining us, I think, who maybe don't know us. So let me just give the floor to my fabulous co-host, Story Detective Robert Jones. Tell us about who you are.
I am.
Question.
I've worked in the comic book field for a good many years. I'm working on a series of novels that I fast drafted, hopefully coming out by this coming year in 2020.
Yay! That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're an awesome AUTHORTUBER. If you have not yet subscribed or checked out Robert's channel, there's a link to it below in the description, and it's fantastic. He does like some really great sort of deep dives. He has a really fantastic perspective. I love his videos. Also, he's funny. So there's that. So all right, welcome. Thanks for and he is my constant co-host on this. Like he agreed to do my very first live stream ever, and now he's been back like pretty much every time. So yay, Robert. All right, and we also have Carrow Brown with us, who I'm so excited to have back with us again, who have now become another regular co-host. Carrow, tell us all about your channel.
Okay, so my name is Carrow Brown. I am an urban fantasy author. I'm also the operations director for Otherworld Inc. On my channel, I talk and whine about the life of a writer, sometimes under the influence of wine. I try to make educational stuff with free resources for you guys, because I know it's really hard to get into the writing industry, and like basically the more stuff I can give you, that's what I try to do. So today I'm working on a short story that I want to self-publish, because all my other projects right now are at the mercy of the machine. So I'm just kind of like, I just want to do something that I can like have a full say on. So that's what I'm doing today.
I think that's so important, because when we had talked about that a little bit last week, about this idea of having some creative control over some of your projects. And I think, don't you think that it just, like, there's something really energizing about a project that's all your own, that you can either screw up or make awesome. Hello, Michael Edward McPhee.
Hey, Michael.
So glad to hear you. Jace is here. Yay. Sorry, I'm doing, I ask you a question, then I start doing shout outs. I'm sorry, my bad. So what do you guys think?
I just like doing it just because it's really just something for me. And I don't have to worry about like going through like the whole process with work and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I like working with the team of people that I have, but at the same time, I'm not the only like pony in the show. So I have to like wait my turn. So at least with self-publishing stuff, like I can pick the cover, I can do all the stuff. And if it fails, it's really my fault. And if it succeeds, that's my fault too. So
Right. That's absolutely true. And I think there's something really, I don't know, energizing about doing that. What do you guys think? Self-publishing projects, or are you, I know some of our regulars are really set on like being traditionally published. Some are already self-publishing. What do you like about that idea of doing sort of projects that are just creative projects just for you? I don't know that. So is anybody else totally sucking it with writing right now?
No, I don't know. What do you think about it, Robert? I'm sorry, we just talked over you.
I know, just blah, blah.
Well, my Nano project is almost done. I've got a handful of scenes and it's finished. So that will be a good thing. I've been struggling along with this thing since November, so it's almost over.
It's like giving labor every time. Like every time.
Okay. I agree with that, except when you get to the end. I find when you get to hit about 85% that you just sail through to the end. Is that not true for you guys? I get like a second home.
I'm a giant ball of anxiety at that point, so it doesn't matter.
Really? That's so fun. I can like see it just clear as day. That's when I always have my really big, 6,000 word writing days, which are rare, but they always happen at the very end when I'm like super, super excited.
Hey, Dana.
Dana, hi. We're very glad you're here. You made it, though. We're very glad about that.
Dana's so cool. Dana gave me more skulls to put on my bookshelf.
Oh, that's so awesome.
It's so cool.
Nope.
I don't have them here right now because all the dogs are in here and I don't need them to be like looking up at the shelf right now. So
I know that feeling. Okay, Alex says he doesn't really have any projects just for him. I tend to be obsessed about getting work done, so if it doesn't serve a purpose or goal, I don't do it. Well, you can still publish those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have like the whole team thing going on.
I work for teams, as far as that goes, you can have this great idea that everybody will love, and by the time it plays post office, it doesn't hardly resemble the idea that it first
That's true. That's definitely true.
That's why I went for self-publishing, because after many years of that, you just kind of want to do your own thing.
I think there's some truth to that. I sort of go back and forth. In some ways, you're like, and then the other thing is traditional publishing. You expect that they're going to do more probably than they actually do. A lot of it still falls on the author. What do I have on my? Oh, it's just a glint. I'm like, what's on my glasses? That's why
I get anxious. That's why I always get anxious, because the closer I get to being done, the more I know that I actually have to do when it comes to like marketing and self-advocating and all this other stuff. And I'm kind of like, I'm not ready.
I swear. Okay, it must be. I'm like going like this. Like there's this weird glint. Wait, it's the other side. Oh wait. No. Oh, it's like some thing. Okay. All right. Better. Okay. So Jay says no if traditional publishing is right. It's not right for everybody at all. Some people. I've been traditionally published for a while, and there are times when I go, "Is this right for me?"
I have a T chart. That's what I have for like, what are they going to do that I can't do for like certain things. So like,
right.
The one thing for work that I have is so we do manga adaptions for some stories. So and they can do that for me. So I'm kind of like, here are my giant epic works. Please do that. My little this is mine. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Alex says probably never do traditional publishing. You know what? There's no reason that you should, unless it's something you really want to do, because the means of distribution is open to us. You don't have to invest a ton of money like you would have 20 years ago to print a bunch of books. They can be printed on demand. There's or ebooks and all that. If it's not for you, and there are lots of reasons why it might not be for you. I mean, someday we should have like a pros and cons, because
that would be a whole live stream. We would just be sitting here. It's changed so much in 10 years. Like I remember back in 2008, like self-publishing was like booming on Kindle, and like one of my writer friends basically stopped working because he was making double what he was making at work because he was self-published. And then in 2009, Amazon and the Big Five worked out a deal, so that way the search engines for the self-published books went down, and so he had to go back and find a job again. And it's been interesting because I watched this stuff, and it's like self-publishing is creeping back up, and it's getting to the point where people don't like the traditional publishers, because from some of the places that I've gone to, there's a large majority, I don't want to say large. I'll say there's a majority of people who don't like traditionally published books right now because it feels agenda pushed right now, and they ruins the escapism of books if there's an agenda in the book, if that makes any sense. So they're all like, I'm done with this.
I think there's some truth to that. Although there have been lots and lots of great books that have had an agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah. And comic books and yeah.
Oh God, yeah, no, don't even get me on the comics. Don't
I know. That would be another interesting. All right, so Eva
Ugh.
hopes to traditionally publish, but also helps to self-publish. Why not both? Why not both? You're actually more likely to make more money if you do both, because you're faster to market. You have a quicker relation and a deeper relationship, I think, a lot of times with your readers. If you're self-publishing, but traditional publishing gives you can give you some authority. It can give you some, with media in particular, if you're looking to get reviews, it can give you some credibility that's harder to get, not impossible by any stretch, but harder to get when you first come out when you're self-publishing. So definitely not.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not. And most of the authors that I know who are traditionally published, right? Control of your own cover. I have some ugly ass covers that show why this is a brilliant plan. Ugly. I also have some great covers. Wait. Oh, I'll have to bring it over later. I just got like the book, the Czech translation for one of my older books, 15 Minutes, and it's beautiful. I love it. I hated the US cover, but I love this one. All right, Georgie says, Carol, I noticed your shelf last week. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's more. There's more. Don't worry, my family's growing over there.
It's nice. It's nice. All right, I love that. If they could buy my book, and they said only if they could get it over the German book market.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. There's probably some way to do that without actually going through a public.
Well, so part of the reason they want it over into the German market is because the German market, like their genres are really small. Like, for example, crime fiction is like a big hit over there if you can get translated into German, because they just don't have a lot of crime fiction over there. So they do really well. And then another thing is that a lot of the big 5 publishers do have associates over in Germany. So obviously they want to make the German associates happy. Yeah.
Obviously. Well, that's a good idea. Alex says donate the book. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, people always go, oh, I don't know if I want library sales because you're only selling 1 copy, but that will get you more readers and more loyal readers, and they will buy your next book for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, here we go. And that actually is a good way to get in, like in US libraries, is to do events at the library or to donate your book.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, you guys, let's start off with our 5-minute writing sprint warm-up now that we're 12 minutes in. I need to get some work done this week. So we're going to start with 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and chat for a little bit, and then we'll start with our 20s after that. So I said that, and here, okay, oops, that's not what we want to do. Hold on. Share a screen. Oh, it's not letting me do this. Uh-oh, problem. Hold on, guys. I am having issues. Thank you. Okay, this is really odd. Like, it's not giving me the option to do the whole. All right, I'm going to try this again. Let's see. Okay, share screen. Let's see if it hopefully doesn't give you like my whole disaster screen. Oh, there we go. All right, now it's good. Sorry. It was just doing like a weird thing I haven't seen before. All right.
There it is.
There we go. Yay. Okay, here we go, everybody. 3, 2, 1. right. Oop. Fantastic. What was that?
I said, let's do some math here.
Let's do some math. I was slow because I was messing around with the timer. I think I got, I don't know. How did you do, Carrow? I got like 135 words, 136 words.
I got 165.
Oh, look at you. Nice work.
I got
Oh, how did everybody do? Good? All right. So Eva had said before with our conversation about Joan wanting to, oh, here. Okay, so she just read up on the German market a bit. They have investigations going into Amazon and have a stance that Amazon is crushing the market. Well, they're not wrong. All right, let's see. I don't see that going well, but there may be other options to self-publishing beyond Amazon. I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. There's got to be. All right. 51 words for Michael. Woo, woo. I think the important thing is that we're all getting going today because I think literally the last thing I wrote was last Wednesday at your stream, Carrow, after our stream. That's not good.
Sometimes it happens. Ava, for your question, I would tell you to go talk to Alina because Alina is a wide publisher. So she's going to be able to tell you all the places that you can publish outside of Amazon because that's what she normally does. And then she'll also tell you like a couple of the pitfalls when it comes to like using like Kindle Unlimited. So for example, if you use Kindle Unlimited, you can't go wide because you're only with Kindle. So she's a really good resource to talk about the pros and cons of that.
Who is that again?
Alina Pokovoshi.
Oh, yeah. We have her. I think she's linked below, actually.
Yeah, she's a great resource.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Doesn't like Amazon's pressure. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think people have really mixed feelings about Amazon. They're a massive part of the market. We all need them at this point, at least in the US market. But yeah, people have there's something scary about putting a lot of eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Well, and then the thing that sucks is that Amazon's algorithm is always changing. So like you think that you're doing it right one day, but then they'll change it on you. And then they put your book on sale and they don't notify you. And that's really weird too. And one thing that I noticed, because it's kind of weird. My dad reads my stuff and I'm like, I don't know how to feel about it. I'm happy he does. But my dad sent me,
he buys it full retail.
Yeah, but my dad sent me a screenshot because something was weird on the site, and I had put up like I put up short stories, right? And I always price the short stories for 99 cents. And he sent me a screenshot, and Amazon was selling my short story for $1.75, and I was like, "That's not 99 cents. What's going on?" Like,
that's weird. Sometimes they'll adjust if there's some other retailer selling it for the wrong price. But and sometimes they will pick your book for like a deal of the month or a daily deal, which is great in a sense because they, really boost up those sales.
The Courtney Project, she really dives into, because I saw Alex comment, she really dives into the pros and cons of using Amazon Prime, and she is not an advocate for it, or not Amazon Prime, Amazon Kindle Unlimited, because she did Kindle Unlimited, and it like really screwed over her sales. So she and when I say she goes in depth, like these videos are like 30 minutes long. So like if you really need to like get like the analytics and know the nitty gritty, she's got videos for that. So
I think that's great to know. This is not my strength, is to go in and do the analytics at all. I find the YouTube analytics a lot easier than Amazon analytics for sure, but maybe it's because they provide a lot more information. I don't know. But I think that anybody who's really good at that is worth watching for sure. All right, Jace, what's for lunch? I'm dying to know. Also, I'm hungry because I didn't eat before I started this. That was a bad plan because I can't generally go 2 hours without eating. I might have to call for a snack. All right, well, good. It seems like everybody did pretty well for our little starter. So let's start with a 20-minute live stream. I'm gonna have to do my whole deal again here. Let me get this up going. 20 minutes. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. Let's get it. There we go. All right. I'm dying to know about the lunch. Okay, everybody, let's get rolling. We will get started in 3 seconds. Here we go. All right. All right. So, wait, there was like a whole protein bar thing going on at the end of this. Alec, let me get rid of this screen actually, because guess who's here? Savy's here.
Hello.
Yay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yay.
Okay, awesome.
We're so glad that you're here. So glad you're here.
Thank you. Sorry I don't have a picture of me or like my video on the screen because I'm at my desktop computer and there's no webcam here. So it's just I'm not here. Sorry. I'm a little black screen today.
It's okay. I use avatar mode.
Yeah, go like a little sound vibration when you talk. So it's kind of cool. I like it. We do need a picture.
Okay, maybe I should like see. I wonder how I can get like a little cartoon avatar up there. I should do that.
Yeah, I don't know how
to do on mine.
Yeah.
Usually when you're about to log in, it like gives you the option to use a camera or an image. So it's kind of like before you jump in kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that was my mistake. I'll make sure to do that next time.
That's all right. Well, if you want to jump out when we start our sprint next time and jump back in.
Oh, I could do that. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. I'll watch for you. Just let me know in the chat.
Okay, cool.
All right. So we had like a whole thing going on with lunch and now I'm starved. Like I'm writing.
Oh, man.
I actually did okay. I did like 356, which is good because like I said, I've been really bad this week. So I'm very proud of my progress. Carrow, Robert, Savvy, how did you guys do?
371.
Well, I didn't write any words because I just jumped in. I was on a work call, so I jumped in after that. And I've been working on actually reformatting book cover files. So it's not writing, it's just working on other book-related things. So I don't know if I'll have any word counts.
That's okay. Whatever.
But I need to do cover formatting really badly today, so I'm going to be working on that.
We're super glad you're here. So I think most everybody knows you, but just in case they don't, will you sort of tell us a little bit about your channel and you?
Oh, sure. So I'm Savvy. I'm from the YouTube channel SAVY Writes Books, and on that channel I do a lot of writing videos and book review videos and also like small business owner related videos because I own a small business that makes books and stuffed animals based on rescue dogs. So I do a lot of videos about small business life as well, and lately like exposing small business scams and like people who try to take advantage of small business owners and that kind of thing. So those are fun. I have a lot more of those planned, but yeah, so I have a lot of like book writing and small business videos that I do. So today, actually, my goal is, because I'm in the process right now of switching printers for my Forever Home Friends book series. So I'm needing to reformat one of the cover files, which was sufficient for the old printer, but not sufficient for the new printer. So I have to redo that file. So that is what I am up to today.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So Robert, you said you got what? 370?
371.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Carol, how'd you do?
I got 569.
That's phenomenal. That is absolutely amazing. All right, everybody, let us know how you did. I have to post this lunch thing because I think it's kind of hilarious. So Jace kicked the whole conversation off with lunch is protein plus penne, diced steamed cauliflower, taco beef crumbles in a Mexican cheese sauce, which he made a big pot of. And let me just say, he goes on later to say, oh, and the cheese sauce is homemade. He's very fancy. Jace, I just want you to know we're all coming to your house right after this. So hope you don't mind. And then Alex was Alex gonna eat a protein bar. And Jace,
I should eat a protein bar too. I feel that right now.
I feel very excited. My mother is here today. She's here for Christmas.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Right? Here's what's awesome. Room service during the stream.
Oh, that's it, man. That's how you should
really Yay, Granny Janny. Eva's now hungry. I am too. I'm right with you there. Alec, the protein bar is not working out for Alec.
Oh no.
I know. That's terrible. Jace is basically taco fondue. That makes it better, actually. All right. Joan says, hoo-hoo savvy. I don't even know how to say that. Hoo-hoo, like that. Joan got 293. That's awesome. Everybody's making really good progress. Absolutely fantastic. So we were talking about sort of the idea of I just completely forgot what we were talking about. we were Carrow, go.
Oh, I was like, we were talking initially about, like, we were going to talk about doing due diligence when working with publishers, but then we started talking about, like, how self-publishing has changed over, like, the last 10 years. So
thank you for that.
And the pros and cons of publishing and traditional publishing.
Yeah, like pretty much all like these topics that we're talking about for 5 minutes could be like hour-long panel discussions. I'm like, we have so much to say.
Oh man, that's such a huge topic too. There's so much to discuss on that.
Yeah.
It's true. It's absolutely true. There, and it's funny because I think even people who felt really strongly about one way or the other feel, you know, it is always changing. Your perspective on this is always changing, and it's really hard to make a great living in traditional publishing. And it feels like the advances are not, even like in the last decade, like the advances have even gone down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a reason why a lot of traditionally published authors go, okay, well, I'm still gonna, you know, have the big release books, but I also, but I also want to do my own projects because it pays better. Even a book that you're selling for $2.99 or $5.99 that you have a lot more control over. A lot of times you're making more money that way. Hello, Stephen's Writing Corner.
Hello.
Yay.
I think Rachel Aaron is a really good example about what you're talking about, because Rachel Aaron was traditionally published with Tor. She did the Eli Mon Press series, and that was pretty well received. But then she went to like one conference and she talked to a self-published author, and he was very transparent and said how much he made, and she like was blown away by it. And she had this one book series that basically had to do with like dragons in Detroit, right? And the publisher was like, nobody's going to want that. She's like, well, fine, I want to write it. So she wrote it and self-published it, and Mama's making like so much money.
It became this big, huge thing. Well, I remember, so when 15 Minutes was first out, I was on like a kind of a big tour. And does everybody know Joe Conrath? You guys know who he is, kind of? Okay, so he was kind of like the first guy who really, like, that I was aware of, that a lot of people were aware of, who left big publishing because he was a solid mid-lister. He had 5 or 6 books out, and he was writing this series. They're all of his books are named after like drink names, whiskey sour, right? So he had this series, and he had a pretty good readership for it. But he wasn't, he's not like a massive bestseller at the time. And they didn't want to publish like his 6th or 7th book. He wants to keep writing this series. And so he decides he's going to self-publish it. And he ends up making a killing. And if you have not read his blog, I think he's still doing it, but even if you just read the archives, it'd be worth it. He was really transparent. And I think he was the first guy who really was, because before that, especially with traditionally published authors, everybody was really quiet about what they made.
It was taboo too. Like
it was very taboo.
He was pretty blatantly angry.
I don't know. I don't make that much money. Like, I'm kind of jealous. Apparently, there's all this money I could be making. I don't make that much money.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, I think one thing about Joe is he's prolific. He writes constantly.
Yeah.
And people that are making a decent amount of money on self-publishing are people who have an audience. So they're traditionally published, and they're able to bring those people in to buy their self-published stuff, or they're just hustlers and they're putting stuff out. They're constantly publishing, and eventually, if you've got a massive backlist, you got 20, 30 books, you're gonna, even if you just make a little bit on every book, you're gonna
and I mean, that's what I'm going for. My goal for 2020 is to put 4 books out. So that's I think we'll have it. I mean, Forever Home Friends brings in a decent amount of money, but not like a full-time income yet.
Well, I think go ahead, Robert.
I think there has to be a bit of a balance too. I used to talk with Russell Blake a lot, and he was one of the forerunners of this whole 4 to 6 novels a year thing, and he was making really good money at it.
Yeah.
he would work like 12, 15-hour days.
Yeah, that sounds normal.
Yeah.
And he's slowed down a lot now. But he established himself and put a lot out.
Yeah.
I think you have to work ahead. At least that's my plan.
Yeah.
Get 4 to 6 novels. Make sure your first year to 2 years is going to be something you can follow up with really quickly. You can't put a book out there, then wait 6, 8 months, a year, and then try
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do that. People will, especially now, move on to the next thing. They forget. Yeah, you really do have to stay out there, and there's a lot of pressure. And that is actually another reason why a lot of traditionally published authors also self-publish, not just because they can, they can write the books they want to write without worrying about their sales record, which is another big reason, but because they can keep staying in touch with their audience between major releases. Nihilist Geek is back. Hello.
Hey, Nihilist.
Yeah, there's some. Hey, Stephen and Nihilist. Did we just get Stephen again? Yes. Hi, y'all. Welcome back, Stephen's Writing Corner. So, yeah, I think there's something really to that. And I think when J.K. Rowling, I think when J.A. Conrad started publishing his numbers, it was such an eye opener for people, and I think a lot of people. And I will say too, do you guys feel like there was kind of a gold rush with?
Yeah, no, it was a total gold rush. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting right now because I always tell people to be like, obviously advocate for yourself, right? Ask questions, don't be in the dark, don't just accept things. But it's kind of getting to the point where publishers, I want to say, are going to be in an awkward position because they've pushed so much on the author to do with both like the inbound marketing and the sales and all this other stuff that I like I always tell people that when you go to a traditional publisher, ask what they're going to do that you can't do.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, because the list of things that a publisher is able to do that you can't do is getting really small. And the only really big difference is the Library of Congress right now. That's the big difference.
Right. So. They can, some of the bigger houses can provide some marketing support, but it's not like there's really nothing there that you can't do on your own.
Yeah, there was a panelist, or there was a panel that I listened to that had to do with basically going from traditional publishing to self-publishing, and it was really like it's on the internet. I need to find it and link it to you, but. Yeah, but it was like such a big eye opener because it was these people sharing their experiences with working with their publishers. So like the lead lady who was talking, she basically said, I would go to my publisher and ask for these things. And it's like, well, we only do that for the big sellers. We won't do that for you.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to go find it right now.
I need to close my door because Chewy's barking so much.
Yeah, I had that experience happen to me actually so my first book did really well with Plume. And my editor who bought the book was the editor-in-chief. And so she really loved the book. She pushed it. And so I got kind of some, even though I did not have star treatment numbers for sure, but the book sold really well. And I got a lot of star treatment. So then my second book is a novel. My editor has left. So now I have a person who not only is not the editor-in-chief, but did not buy my book, doesn't care about it.
Yeah.
New publicist who doesn't know me from Adam. We get a new editor-in-chief. And I was like working. I worked it with my first book and with my first novel. I was really excited about it. So I'm doing this big tour, which thankfully had already been set up. But one of the things that I did was I did events at a number of airport bookstores. And I sold great. It was fantastic. And afterwards, like this, I don't know, a publishing assistant, somebody who was like 2 years out of college said, well, we don't, we're not really supposed to do that. That we really save that for the big authors. First,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
but also exactly. You're like, I did a ton of legwork to set this up. And the thing that, if they want to say, oh, that's only for, John Grisham or that's only for so-and-so, those sales numbers that you get at the end of the year, those are yours to keep. So if you go,
right.
I'll just defer to these big authors. And honestly, I packed the stores. So what does the bookseller care? They wanted me there. I wanted to be there. I sold a ton of books.
Honestly, in-person events are my best way to get sales. Like, I need to step up my online game, but like I do so many in-person events and I do so many appearances at like festivals and conventions and art fairs and things like that. And that's like where the majority of my sales come from. So I feel like the value of in-person connection with an audience is so valuable.
That's huge. Yeah.
And I think people I think people don't always realize that because so many people focus on like their Amazon rank or like their sales online. And like, I couldn't care less about that. For me, it's like, if I can
matter.
Go and sell, 50, 100 books in a day to somebody at an event, that's wonderful. I would much rather that than, have them get sent online. Plus then I can meet the person one-on-one and talk to them about it. And that's so much more
connected to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Met you, you're, absolutely.
The sad reality of any traditional publisher is your book is assigned a number long before it ever comes out.
Yeah.
And if you're in the mid list, you're going to get, say, it was like 50,000 copies in a print run. It's probably less now.
Oh, it's way less.
Yeah. And they put those out there and they figure if it's going to sell, you're going to get reorders for at least that initial print run or greater, or there's no more print runs.
Right.
So you would sell the 50,000 completely out, then get orders for another 50,000, or there's no royalties, there's no future prints, you're just dead in the water after that. I think that's what happened to Alexa Dunn, and that's very typical of what happens.
Yeah, I like that I'll never go out of print because I'm in control of my destiny.
Yeah. Well, even if you do go out of print, so like my first book is not, like, it's still for sale on Amazon and all that, but they're not pushing it. It's been 15 years. And I'd actually gotten the rights back in the UK, but then Penguin bought Random House. And so now my UK rights are back under the Penguin umbrella. So even though they had told me I had my rights back, they never sent like that last piece of paper to my agent. And apparently she didn't follow up on it. So now they're not selling there. And I had for a couple of years sold it I took the rights back. I sold it and it did really well just on the, in the Kindle store. But now I can't get those rights back. Like we send them like every 6 months. My agent sends them a thing and, that's it. So CEO Savvy, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Let's do some comments because we've got a few right here. Jones says, Eva buys more in person when it comes to indie businesses and authors. That is an excellent policy, right?
Yeah.
In-person events only work when you can handle crowds or groups.
You do have to develop those people skills, unfortunately, because at the end of the day, if you can't advocate for yourself in your work, you're not going to be able to make sales. And especially if you're going to self-publish, because you have to do that even more. And traditional publishers expect you to do that anyway. But like when you are the business owner, the only person that you can blame when your books don't sell is yourself.
Yeah. That's true. Well, and even if you can blame the publisher, again, those sales numbers are yours to keep at the end of the year, and the end of your career. Hopefully not. You might have to, change your name and go. So this is interesting. Jace's comment about in-person events only work when you can handle crowds or groups. But so and I don't know, Jace, are you talking about like anxiety or like just extreme introversion? Because some people just don't do well.
Yeah.
I don't. I absolutely don't do well with crowds.
I think it depends on your preferences. Because, like, for me, I have to be around a lot of people. Like, I can't be productive by myself. So, like, that's why I, like, need those events to keep me going. But, like, I can see how, like, it's all about playing to your strengths, I think. Like, find what you're good at and then, like, hammer that hard. That's what I do, at least.
Yeah, no, I'm not good with crowds just because I'm, like... Not because, I do have anxiety, but I used to be in the military, so we were trained to always be aware of our surroundings. So, like, when I'm in a crowd, I am constantly looking at like, points of entry and, like, all this other stuff. So, like, I'm just constantly in that state of awareness. So, like, I usually have to find, like, a closed-off space, put my back to a corner, maybe surround myself with people I know so that way I can be like...
Yes. Don't try to, pull any funny business at Carrow's events because she will take you down. Bonnie Phillips, thank you so much. We appreciate it. That's really sweet of you. All right, this is a good comment from Eva. Several authors double or triple up to have more than one per booth. Go Go
That's
ahead.
a great idea.
I'm going to pull this down because it covers up Robert's entire face, but good comment. I know, I was like, it's good though now that we have Savvy for the sprints, because if I put a banner up, it won't cover up anybody. Because, yeah, so it's good. All right, we're going to do a couple more little, oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Yes, you guys are awesome.
Robert was about to say something. I missed it. Like, Robert was about to say something.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The thing about dealing with crowds and people is a large thing when you go to get those full press courts, because big publishers, at least the big five, look at you and they're going to determine whether they can send you on that tour, and you're going to keep the crowd to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I was told, to go when you first meet your publisher, if you get a good publishing contract with the big five, act like it's your first date. And if you have a personality, don't be afraid to let it show, because some people get that just because they think they can market them well.
That's true. They just want to know, basically they want to know that you're going to be able to sell this book. And the easiest way for them to know that is if you're really personable. So if you, if you can speak, or if you have a giant YouTube audience. So, and I will tell you, one of my really good friends, Ward Larson, he writes these great Jammer Davis novels. He actually self-published his first book, got picked up by a really small publisher called Ocean View, and then became this big seller, bestseller many times over. And now he's with Tor. And I've known the man for a decade, and he barely speaks. Like, I go to parties at his house, and I get 20 words in with Ward if I'm lucky. And so you can't, and he does like one book event in his hometown with his friends, and that's it. And that's all he's cut out for. So you can still do it. He just is really prolific, though. I will say he writes and writes and writes and writes and writes. And for, some people, that's okay. You can do that. And you can certainly be, you can do what you're doing now, Alec. You can be engaged online and with people. If you don't do crowds, you don't have to. Certainly publishers want to know that you can be on TV and do this and do that and do that. But not everybody can. And there's still plenty of great writers who don't have those skills. It used to be a lot more. Oh, attending indie book events or holding your own. That's a really good question. Who wants to take that one?
I will. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to actually still go to indie book events, because at the end of the day, if you are an indie author, you're going to need to network, and you're going to need to spread the word of your book through word of mouth. Going to these events and meeting other people and lifting up those people is going to do you a lot more good than if you're just sitting there screaming in the void, because at this point, with the way that publishing is going, we can't count on other people to help us, or we can't count on the industry to help us out. And it's almost too much for us to do it on our own. So teaming up with people is going to be the best thing that you're going to be able to do right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing a traditional publisher can teach you, that real world experience. If you're self-published, you have to find a way to get it.
Right.
Yeah, and the indie network is strong. Like, it is really strong. In my area, there are 3 big indie chapters for romance, women's literature, and another one just for fiction in general. And I've gone to all 3 of these events, and let me tell you, man, they're all about like passing out cards, going to other things. Like, they're just all like, let me help you, because so that way we can all get on top of this.
Right.
Yeah.
And it really is the best way. I mean, don't you feel like just the first time you ever met another person who was around the same place in the writing journey, or a little ahead of you or a little behind you, like how you finally felt like, oh my gosh, I can finally talk about this. And I actually had the same experience with AUTHORTUBE, right? Because you guys all sort of came in, and everybody was so great and welcoming, and all of a sudden, like, you have this like little group of friends. And this happened to me when I wrote my first book. A couple months later, I met this woman, Lisa R. McLeod, who was also an author, and she was maybe a year ahead of me publishing wise. And we, she's one of my closest friends. We've known each other forever now, and those relationships are so valuable. And there have been so many things where an opportunity wasn't right for me, but it was great for Lisa, and vice versa. And so just having a bigger network opens you up, not only to having like people that you really connect with, but also so many other opportunities that you might not otherwise be aware of.
What
I
Eva's
was actually going to recommend, sorry.
Go ahead.
just saying here in the comment is really important, like Comic-Con and Geek Cons.
Yeah.
We need to do an indie author con, because that's what people do at comic conventions. We need to be able to do that for ourselves. Even if it was small, we need to start a trend, I think.
Yeah, I've actually been wanting to start a book festival. I've talked about this in the AUTHORTUBE Facebook group a few times, but I've been doing like preliminary planning. My goal is to get one going for 2022, so hopefully we can all have a fun indie author convention. But I would actually recommend doing all different kinds of events. So like for me, a good portion of my books are all dog related, so I try to do like animal events and like animal partnership type things, and I've done book signings at pet stores and that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
And like I also have a stuffed animal component, so sometimes I do like craft fairs, because it's like I've got books and stuffed animals, so I've got my art that I can sell. So if you can look at it from like a craft fair angle too. And then for other books, I'll do like local author events, and I have put on my own events in the past. So really, like I just do like a lot of events. I do like especially in the holiday season, I do like 2 a week. So like I'm doing events constantly. But I feel like like you can find events that are specific to the topics in your book. You don't just have to do book events. Like for me, finding things that's like, this is a dog event, this is an animal rescue event, like that's even been more helpful, because then you're directly with your target audience.
Yeah. This is a genius strategy, and I will tell you that it definitely works, because you guys have all heard of Source Books, right? Mid-sized publisher out of Chicago. So that's how they started. They, instead of putting their little tiny publisher, the founder had an advertising background, and I think she's smart as she can possibly be. She had this advertising background. Instead of taking her, her couple of books with her little indie publisher and putting them in a big giant Borders or Barnes and Noble, she started selling her books in Sally beauty supply stores, where she's one of a couple, maybe no books, maybe just one of one, maybe one of 5. But she did that and built an entire publishing empire, just based on that sort of, hit them where they ain't kind of strategy, where everyone else is over here, I'm going to go over here. And, now Source Books is a big house. They've been around for a couple of decades. And, it was a really smart strategy. They too, as far as traditional publishing, they have, I think, the smartest media strategy. Usually you just get this kind of junior level person that does like the spray and pray. Source Books actually assigns a radio person, an online person, a print person, and a broadcast.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Right? You get a main person, but the radio publicist only pitches radio, and she pitches it for all the books. And the print person only pitches print. And they're way more effective as far as, publicists, which are often not super effective because they're really overworked. All right, we have so many great comments, you guys, but I feel like we should do another stream. Thoughts? Stream it is. Okay, here we go. Really fantastic comments. Eva makes an excellent point before we go, though, about online streaming being a version of personal contact, right? Because doesn't this, we could just as easily be at a coffee shop right now.
We could.
We'd be really loud because there are a whole bunch of us here. All right. Anyway, okay, I am going to add in our little timer. We're going to, I don't even know, there's Eva's comment. All right, I'm going to hit this and we're going to get rolling once again. All right, here we go, everybody.
I'm still writing away.
Oh man, sorry, Chewy's barking. I'm gonna close the door.
That's a good way to get our attention, though. We all respond to dog barking.
I kept hearing a ding while the timer was on, and I thought it was up, and I look.
Lisa, you have to unmute yourself.
I unmute everybody else, but not me. I'm so glad. I did not.
I think someone's trying to deliver a package at my building. That's why Chewy's going crazy right now. Sorry about that.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I'm glad I at least got all of you unmuted. I didn't hit the button hard enough. So we had a ton of comments, ton of comments. I think this is our last one that we had. Online streaming is a version of in-person contact. I think that's so true. It's way more true than I would have ever expected.
Yeah, definitely. And I love this. This is fantastic because sometimes like I have to work from home today and I don't have any coworkers, but like you guys can be my coworkers.
Right?
So this really just helps keep me motivated.
I'm so glad. I feel the same way. I think that like that's part of there's something about being around other people, but then also I can have it quiet like I like it when I'm actually writing. So
yeah.
It's nice, right? Because how often can you go, okay, we're going to work for 20 minutes. It's awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Bonnie. We appreciate that. Oh, tell us again what you were talking about. I'm sorry. We had so many comments. I didn't get all the way through them.
I think we were talking about, this is when we're talking about like going to conferences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. Eva is planning a promotional party event for AuthorTubers with giveaways and guest speakers. Sign me up. I want to do it.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely want to be a part of this.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Send this to all of us. I want to do this.
Definitely. This is a great idea. It's a great idea, Eva. Yes. Okay. So Bonnie says she loves that feeling writer boot camp she's attended surrounded by the tribe. That's what it's all about.
With that one uncle who has to contradict everything that's being said. We laugh because it's true.
I know. It's super true. Okay. Local library had a sale. One of the authors was present, so you now own 3 of his books. That happens, right? Sometimes, I mean, there's so many books in the world. Sometimes you buy a book because you go, oh, well, the guy's sitting out in the sun today. I'm going to buy it. And then you like it, and then he becomes one of your favorite authors. Or she. Oh, my gosh. That's awesome. All right. Nihilist Geek says he's been helping organize a fantasy convention. Nice. That's a fantastic thing. So this is funny. I think Nihilist Geek and do you guys remember last week when he made the comment about how he needed someone to tell him if his books were too PC? He needed
I remember that.
And I said, I have the guy for you. They've connected, which is kind of hilarious. This is
how you organize those little get-togethers. And
I know. Yeah, you know me. I'm one of those people. I like, convention. We know what you meant. All right. This is a good question. I know for sure, having organized, like when I was in college, I was like the leisure services director for a hotel, which basically meant like I was in charge of the fund.
Oh, and you're the cat herder.
Exactly. So just that was like a ton of work. I can't even fathom the kind of work that goes into organizing an entire convention. Nihilist Geek, tell us all about it. You probably have some experience with that, right, Robert? You've probably been to a ton of those over the years, yes?
Yeah. I didn't organize them, though. I just went.
No.
It's a lot of work. Like, I've organized stuff, like operations director, right? Like, that's all I do. I just organize cats and put them in boxes and then throw them back in the box when they jump out. When you organize stuff, it's like herding cats, but it's worse because they're on catnip. Like, as much as you try to like organize and make everything smooth, something will always go wrong. Either too many people show up, or there's not enough food, or somebody doesn't want this table, they want to sit over there, and then you find out that 2 people don't like each other and they can't be near each other, and it's like freaking high school. Like,
Or like planning a wedding, like every
I
6
was
months.
just thinking that it was like wedding planning.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
And
just-
like, thankfully for me, like my mom was a professional event planner for the majority of her career. So she
Oh,
did all my wedding planning for me and I didn't do anything. It was amazing.
what was really funny is that so I went to like this little gaming convention thing in a hotel in my area, and like you always hear me say not my circus, I'm just a monkey here, right? I have to tell myself that's what I do. But I went to this convention and it was for Star Wars, right?
Mhm.
It was for Star Wars, and I walked into this very tiny room with 2 tables, and I was just like, who is the person who's managing this? And they were just kind of like, do you have a complaint? It's like, no, I just don't think they understand what they've done. Please bring them to me. And so I was like, sweetheart, you were about to have 500 people crammed into this little tiny room like a pack of sardines, and you've only got 2 tables. And she's like, well, they said it was just a meet and greet. And I was like, okay, so you don't know Star Wars. You need 10 more tables. You need way more beverages. And at first she was just kind of like, no, I think this will be fine. I was like, I bet you $10. $10. And within like 30 minutes, all the cosplayers showed up because they got to do their photo shoots, right? So all the cosplayers showed up, then all the nerds and geek shirts showed up, and then everybody else showed up. And sure enough, standing room only. And I was sitting there looking at her because she'd freak out in the corner. I was like,
Right. You're like, I told you about that. All right. Alec is planning on going to a gay rom lit retreat at the end of next year. I think that sounds absolutely fantastic. Alec, if you have a link, will you send it to me in the just in the regular comments or in these comments, and I will and I'll post a link to it in the description for anybody else who's interested in that. I think that's awesome. All right, Nihilist Geek says yes. It's a ton of work, and it can become a cluster.
Always a cluster. It doesn't matter. That's why I tell everybody to sleep before the show, because it's like, it can be crazy. I need you to be like 110% with me because we got to fix shit.
On it. Awesome. You guys are all so fantastic. All right. Yeah. Okay, good. Yes. Well, I say that. I'm sure he'll tell you the answer. All right. Oh, there you go. All right. We are also glad to be here and not the coffee shop, because we would really be packing the joint. So there you go. I'm so glad. Oh, that was me. I'm just like going through the list.
Those will be on the show.
I'm not posting the next one. Good gracious. Locked Up Lucy, we are not done sprinting. We will do another one coming up right after this. We got a lot more today than we normally do. Usually we knock out about 4 sprints. We're only on our we'll be on our 4th, but our 3rd 20.
We had things to say.
We did have some things to say. Go ahead.
That's important too, because people get a lot out of the discussions, I think. So
I think that's really true. Okay, pen to paper first. It depends. If I'm stuck on my keyboard, then I will go to pen and paper. What about you guys? Do you start with pen and paper? Ever do pen and paper? Never do pen and paper?
I do both. I alternate.
Yeah.
If I have to work out like an outline or something, then I have to write it, or like, because it's the hand brain connection thing.
I was just gonna say that there's been a number of studies about your hand and your brain and how and the connection there, and how literally moving your hand makes your brain work. It's like walking actually makes your brain work more, which is fascinating. Maybe it's just moving your body. If you guys want, I'll let you can all borrow my crazy ass thing I have under my desk.
I have one of those.
So that is a really, really good question. I am the same way with outlining. I have to do outlining, pen and paper or pencil and paper. Okay, so this is interesting. Online can never substitute for people being in the same room, says my ex-shrink. I know. I think it's good. I think some people who would never leave their home, so at least find a community. And, right.
I leave the house.
Go ahead.
I leave the house once a week on Wednesday, where I actually do the writers' workshop. So I sit with a whole bunch of other writers and we'll do like critiques on stuff. And that's kind of like my in-person time. And I really like that because it gives us a chance to kind of hone the craft a little bit. We have like really good discussions. The downside is that my group is really frank, so we get a sensitive Nancy about once a month, and then they just like lecture us about how mean we are. And I'm like, if you think I'm mean, wait till your Goodreads review comes in.
I was just gonna say, you are not cut out for Amazon reviewers. If you can say oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. All right, so Alex says he feels more comfortable not being in front of people, less anxiety. You know what? We are super glad you're here. So thank you. Yay. All right. So Geek is one of 20 people who works in the convention, only has limited experience. It's good though. The way to get more experience is by doing that stuff. Some of the best stuff I ever did, I volunteered for without having a fucking clue what I was doing. Right? You're just like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, Bonnie writes pen to paper, then uses dictation. I've tried dictation. I know a lot of authors swear by it. I can't do it. I need to actually, it needs to come out through my fingers. Have you guys ever tried dictation, any of you?
It sounds really weird, period, because I'm not really used to having to speak grammar, period, but maybe one day I'll get used to it, period.
I did complete crap, but I've done entire first drafts dictating, and they don't come out that bad once you do it for a while. But it takes time.
It does take time. It really takes time. All right, walking is how I did most of my planning for my book. This is a thing. It really does stimulate creativity. I love that. All right, okay, gayromlit.com. I love that. All right, I'll put it in the. Let me write it down so I don't forget. I'm gonna put it in the description.
Getting back to those notebooks, another thing for me is everything aside from this nano project I'm currently working on, I wait till I have a notebook at least halfway to 2/3 filled with ideas so that I know I have enough to write my story and I'm not just winging it. You know, there's characters in my scenes in my brain.
Did we talk about this? For some reason, I thought you were more of a plotter. You don't already have that in a. I know Carrow's got to be a plotter. Are you a plot? Yeah.
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 I started pantsing, then I completely plotted, and both of them kind of intermingled because once I plot everything, it's still shifting and changing as I'm writing it. So now I'm kind of a combination of both. The plantser.
That's good. I know my outlines aren't super detailed, but they get more detailed as I get down to the end. Plantser is a good term for that. All right. So yes, savvy, sensitive. Carrow is a lot of our spirit animals, right? Spirit. Yes, that was.
I just don't have a filter. That's what it is.
I think that's why we all can relate. There we go. Dictation adventures. I would like to see that. I think that sounds funny. Cross outline between finishing and being done. I don't know. Do you guys feel that? I don't have that experience. I fly over that finish line and put the book down for a couple of weeks and then go back to it to edit. But I'm always done when I'm done. I don't think I've ever
feel that too.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I don't stress too much about like this isn't done. Like I know that there's that feeling, but for the most part, I like the feeling of finishing something. And that might be because I work in journalism, so it's like when you have a deadline, you email it in, you don't think too hard about it.
Done. Right, you have another one coming up the next day. Bonnie, how do you deal with that? Do you go back and re-edit? Are you is it just nerves? Like how do you deal with that? All right, that's true. I do use right. I'm always like screaming into my iPhone. Yeah. Oh, so Alec has got this down pat. Alec, I feel like has like this amazing like backstory. Alec comes out with these like little tidbits all the time. I'm always fascinating. First manuscript. Okay, well, that explains it. Nerve,
baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So. You're done when you're done. And here's one thing. You do not want to be that writer who feels like I have to keep polishing this thing until it's, dead or until I'm dead. Because at some point you have to put it out in the world. So make it the best that you can. Don't do 18 passes. Do like 2 or 3 and that's it. And 2 to 3 is a lot. And certainly giving it a little time to breathe. And then going back a couple weeks or a month later, you'll see things that you didn't notice before, and you won't have that like panic brain. But don't go back over and because at some point, don't you feel like you start making it worse? Like at some point,
Yeah.
yeah,
I did that same thing, and then I realized I compared it to the art, and the first draft is just a rough sketch. And I always underwrite now because I know it's going to evolve. And if I get my basic story down, the second draft is where it really takes shape. So
yeah, definitely.
One thing I would probably add to that is that at some point you're going to do your alpha or your beta reader process. Obviously, you have to take some of the comments with a grain of salt. Like I had one beta reader who said you can't have this character named Billy because of some weird abstract reason. I was like, okay, you're dumb. But don't get too stuck on the beta reading process, because the thing is that no matter how polished you make it, if you take it to new beta readers, they're always going to tell you to change stuff. Yeah. So get your 3 to 5 beta readers, take their suggestions and move on, and don't keep going through that process, or you'll be editing your book for 10 years like this one guy at my writing group. So
yeah, that's it. Get it out there. The only way to get better, and beta readers are fantastic for that. But you put it out and it's terrible. It's not like one book will kill your, I mean, obviously you want it to be the best that you can make it. But if you never go forward, if you get stuck at that finishing point, then you are, you're never going to accomplish that dream of writing a book. You're just going to you're going to be that person with 1 or 57 manuscripts in a drawer who really wants to be an author. I find this fascinating that you're a copywriter. I started as a copywriter, so you already know how to write. Otherwise, you wouldn't be eating right now. So it is totally different, but you have those skills. Your creative directors have already tortured you to the point where you can write well. So
I also did my first indie author interview on my channel last week, and she talked about the same thing with beta readers. Yeah. She said she had one that quit the book because she couldn't stand her main character, and her first thought was, do I need to change this now because somebody hates it? And right. She said, no, most people like her. I'm going to write the book for those people that don't like it. So a lot of interesting things in that interview, I think.
Yeah, we will remind me when we end, and I'll link to here. Let me say link Robert's interview. Okay, so there is something really great about that. And the other thing is, because it's your first book, you probably have a lot of self-doubt about this, because it's a big, scary thing to put that out into the universe. And beta readers can be great because, yes, maybe one of them will say something insane, or maybe more than one will say something insane, but it won't be the same insane thing. Mm-hmm. But if you keep getting like, oh, I love this character, or I wish I knew more about this character, or like when you start to get a little consensus, those are the issues that you really want to look at. And sometimes somebody will come up with just a gem, but if the comments feel really wrong, you gotta.
Yeah, a really good critique person is going to be really clear. So like every now and then people are like, hey, can you beta read something? And my question is like, are you sure you want me to beta read your stuff? Like, you need to be really sure about this. So
again, no filter.
Yeah, and so I when I go and I critique something, I'm not a line editor. I'm looking at like developmental edit, characters, flow. I'm looking at that kind of stuff. And I try to highlight the things that work for the story, because a lot of times when people try to go beta read, they just think that they're like the butcher and they just want to say everything that's wrong. But telling an author what works for the manuscript is just as valuable as telling them what doesn't work. So whenever I go in there, I'm not trying to do like the 2 positives, 1 negative. I'm literally just being honest. Like, this works. I like this passage. This character response is funny. I try to tell them that because that's stuff that authors need to hear. But then again, when I say like things don't work, I'm kind of like, people don't act like this. Or sometimes I'll ask a question. Like I have one writer at work, and he wrote this script, and I was like, why are these characters here? And he's like, well, they're there to highlight his actions. I was like, that's not my question. Why are they there? Why? What is their agency? Why did they decide to follow this buffoon out into the middle of nowhere? And so like, and that, I think asking those kind of questions are going to be really important. But again, you have to be really clear when you do the beta reading thing, because again, I asked him why. This was like, and I was talking to him like this. And so you just got to be really clear with the feedback, and just keep in mind that this is a person that you're talking to.
You have to find at least one thing that they do right, even if it's terrible, because you can't crush them.
No, you can't crush their dreams. And you can always find something they do right.
Yeah.
You can always find something. But I think your point, Carol, about how you should really, if you are a beta reader, you really need to think about the things, not just the things that are wrong, but also the things that they're really doing well, because you want to give the author an opportunity to expand on that, to learn from it. So, I mean, that is just as helpful. Plus, it's nice. Writing is hard and lonely business for a lot of it. And so it's good when your early readers are like, oh my gosh, I'm swooning over this, or oh, I love, right? Or this was really meaningful, or I cried. Oh my God, I love to make my beta readers cry. I'm a little bit evil that way. Okay, Alex says it's your story at the, oh, so Bonnie said, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Thank you very much for being here. Yes, Alec makes an excellent point. It is your story, or your stort, as we like to say, at the end of the day, and someone is going to trash it. So true. You could write the most perfect book in the world, or the biggest piece of crap in the world, and some people will love it, and some people will hate it.
Yes, one person. Don't get me started on that book. Do not get me started.
Hi, is it Key Clavis? Key Clavis. We need phonetic pronunciation down in the comments, please. Hi, welcome. Thanks for coming. That's all right. You're good. We haven't gotten a lot of writing done today, but we've gotten a lot of talking done.
This is a panel. This is a panel about being an author.
Right. It started off being a writing sprint, and it's now morphed into a nonfiction, niche-specific writing. Bonnie, that's how I started. We're like twins, except you're younger. But other than that, that's exactly how I started. I was an advertising copywriter for 8 years. It was a really fantastic, hard, brutal job, which I absolutely loved. And then my first book was nonfiction, and now I write fiction. All right. All right. Links to the regulars is not working. Ooh, you know what? I cut and pasted. I bet that's it. I will go back in and fix it right after the live stream, because I know you guys all like to see each other's channels. Plus, I'm so appreciative that you guys are all here. So if you want to send me a note put it in the comments below, because I had a hard time accessing the live stream comments. Put it in the regular comment section if your link is not in the description, if you're a regular, or if you're going to be a regular, I'll put you in there. All right. So it's almost the end of our live stream. We could do two things. We could do like another 20 if we want to go 15 minutes late, or we could keep chatting, or we could talk about what next week is Christmas. So obviously, no live stream on Christmas Day. No. Robert, you've got a day off, Carrow, Savvy. Yeah. But here's what I want to know. I was like at first thinking, oh, we should cancel for New Year's Day. But then I thought, I'm always like full of energy and excitement on New Year's Day. What do you guys think? Should we do the live stream on New Year's or not?
I was going to do it.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Yes.
We'll have to see. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I was gonna wear a goofy hat and everything.
Oh wait, I might have to for that. Goofy hat. Yeah.
If Carol's gonna wear a goofy hat, I am down with that. Savvy, Savvy might. Still younger. Short stories are interesting. I never wrote short stories. Carol, do you have advice on that?
I do, because I write a lot of short stories. I remember you guys were talking about this last night on the other stream. I creep on so many streams. I have a problem.
My name is Carrow Brown. I'm addicted to live streams.
It's true. You know, short stories really kind of depend on the story that you want to tell. So, Alec, I know that you have stories that have like a lot of layers and everything else that goes on in there. And one of the things that one of my friends humorously likes to tell me is that a short story writer is somebody who tried to write a poem and it got too long, and then a novelist is somebody who tried to write a short story and then that got too long. You know, that's kind of like how he likes to talk about it. And the best thing I could tell you to do is to say, give yourself a word limit and write your story within that word limit, however you have to. That's like the easiest thing I can tell you to do. Because, like, for example, like Violet Gaze, who is one of the publishers that I work with, they were like, we need a short story that's like 10,000 words or less. So I got it to like 955, right? 9,550 words. And they were just kind of giving me the side eye. But even in doing that, I was still trying to make sure that within like that 10,000 words, I was still hitting like, you know, the 3 arcs and the character conflict and all that other stuff. And that's my advice. Give yourself a word limit of like 10,000 or less. So, or you could try flash fiction.
What's that?
It's basically where you tell a story in like 500 words or less.
I'm too wordy for that. As you guys know, I can't even stop talking. We can't even get our word prints in today.
Twitter.
Flash fiction challenges, though, if you're gonna, like, some places have challenges where it's like your story can only be 50 words. It can only be 25 words. Like, those can be really fun to see how much you can tell in like one sentence.
There's this thing that goes on Twitter, and I don't partake in it because I'm too wordy as well for the 250 character challenge there. But what they do is they have a writing prompt, and within the Twitter thing, you have to like tell the short story of that. So
I would.
There's some gems. There are some gems.
I'll bet there are. I could not do that, but I admire anyone who can. All right. Oh, see, there you go. Bonnie, you're among friends here. I want to be a regular. You're a regular. Congratulations. All right. Awesome. Welcome, Bonnie. Good.
And Alec, if you want, I can just do a video about doing short stories because you're not the first person to ask me. So
yeah, definitely. I think that's great. All right, Bonnie, I'm going to put a link to you. You're officially a regular. We meet every Wednesday except on Christmas, 11 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. Hit that little notification bell so you know when we're going to go live. Alec Williams, I think I have you as Alec, you should check, but I'm pretty sure I put you in because you've been here enough. But if I didn't, I will check. You and me both, Jason. All right. Oh, this is great. Very good. No, this is good. So my friend Lisa that I talked about earlier in the live stream, she did not write her first book until she was like 40 something. So, and she's written many, many since then. I will also say, having known her for like 17 years, she does not age. So she still has the same like kicky hairdo. She just is like one of those people that always looks exactly the same, which makes her hard to like. She wasn't so fabulous.
Everybody always thinks I'm 22, and I'm like, good, keep thinking that.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. So I do, my one day out of the house is when I do this television show called Daytime, which is a syndicated morning show. And I talk about dating, which is what the topic of my first couple of books was. And one time I was in the green room with a plastic surgeon, and like, and I always feel sort of like I have like a really full, like, you know, I'm very, I like this chubby face, which I have had all my life. And he said, oh, you're lucky you have, and he literally said, you're lucky you have a fat face because you'll look younger longer. And you're like, on one hand, you're like, thank you. A plastic surgeon just told you had a chunky face. Yeah. So,
on the other hand, as a writer, you're like, is that really the word choice you want to use?
Yeah. Right. 5 minutes before you go on national television? Probably not. As I recall, he just was on the one time. Although I don't think he said anything as obnoxious to the host as he did to me. So, yay, Alec. Thank you so much. Yay. Thanks, Bonnie. You're not there. Okay, Alec. Well, give me a half an hour after the stream and you will be. All right, you are on there. And thank you very much to Joan Ninja Hen for your pen name's last name has changed since last week. All right, I'll look you up too. Thanks to Joan for letting me know that for some reason the links aren't working. I just copied and pasted the regulars from last week. So I will just, I'll fix it. Jace Maxwell. All right, good, everybody. Anybody else? We have more. You didn't want Marvel suing you. Robert can help you with that. No problem. No problem. Well, you guys have all been awesome. It's 1:02, and we were supposed to only go until 1 today. I'm so like completely psyched that everybody was here today. So here's the deal. No live stream on Christmas, but we will be here on New Year's Day. Savvy, if you go out drinking, we will excuse your absence.
Okay.
But just this one time, though.
All right. You guys are, I just want to say thank you again to Robert, Carrow, and Savvy for coming today. Joan is going to be on one of our live streams soon. And if you want to come, just let me know. We'll do it. You guys are awesome. This would not be nearly as much fun. I'm sorry we were not as productive today as we normally are. We usually...
We had things to say.
Yeah. Usually we get more writing done. There's something like holiday. I've just not been productive all week. Although I did get 405 in my last sprint. So I'm happy about that. So I hope you guys did too. Joan has it too sure you have to copy them from edit mode. I think I did do that. You know what? I'm just going to put them on a different document. Or I might have copied it into the StreamYard thing. I'll figure it out. It's not. I'm not so technically challenged that I can't manage it twice. But I will go back and check. So thank you very much for yes, right, Funky Hat New Year's Dream. So we now have a theme. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Eva, thank you so much, Bonnie. We are so happy you guys showed up. Thanks so much for everybody. Bye. Thanks, Joan. Jace. Yay.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. Have an awesome day. And we will see you in 2 weeks. All right. Bye-bye.
Later. I'm waving. Wave, 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 wave.